whole idea for organizing the seminar was that, you know, when you have the opportunity to travel the world through leadership experiences, through scholarships, you inspire other people. And I've been getting a lot of questions as to how do you win scholarships to study abroad? And then I was like, okay, I know a lot of colleagues who, Dixon, can you please record? I know a lot of friends that we are both studying abroad and all of that. And I was like, why don't I just bring this and then try to share with all of you guys? And the whole idea here, because normally when you see people, when they talk about study abroad opportunities, it's either they do like a one seminar where they focus on a certain scholarship. So I was like, let me try to be diverse and different so that we can give you guys a different of scholarships. So I organized guys from us who are studying in China, people who also studied in China, and also they're studying in Europe, specifically Germany and the UK. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our first speaker. Her name is Pelumi. She is a Nigerian. Dee, could you please put your mic, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. Nabila as well, could you please mute yourself? Okay. All right, cool. So our first speaker, well, citizens who speaks 9 languages. Born in Nigeria, raised in Spain, and lived across 4 continents. She has a bachelor's degree in translation and interpreting, a master's of arts in business management, and now taking a master's in global human development at Georgetown University as a Fulbright scholar and as a fellow from the Rafael de Pino Foundation in Spain. Her passion to work in the field of international development stems from working in the past years with communities to take ownership of their development processes. Her work has varied from project supporting to volunteering for grassroots development initiatives in Morocco and Taiwan. In addition, she's a beneficiary of a couple of other scholarships and fellowships, including the Erasmus Mundus, the German Academic Exchange Program, the IBN Batuta Merit Scholarship, and Taiwanese Government Scholarship. Pelumi, the floor is yours. You can have a conversation with our attendees. But before you start, I'm so intrigued. Can you just tell us about the 9 languages that you speak? And then from there you'll start. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tabeso, for the introduction. I'm a pretty normal person. So the language comes from just me being a language freak. I'm fascinated by cultures and languages. So of course, I was born in Nigeria. So English and Yoruba, my native language, and then we moved to Spain when I was 10. So I grew up in a city called Barcelona where we have another language, so Spanish and Catalan. And then I did German in my translation degree. And then I started French. And then I was like, okay, what can we do more? I started to do Arabic. I got a scholarship to study in Morocco. Then I was like, something else, something more exotic, let's do Chinese. And then I went to Taiwan. So it's more kind of like me. I was bored out of uni. So I was like, let's just study languages. And that's how, it's kind of like developed my interest and my passion for that. Thank you everyone for attending. I wanted to say, it's great to have everyone here and to kind of like share my experience. I'm super passionate about, not only language, but scholarship specifically. And that's why I actually have a YouTube channel called NinjaInspiration, where I literally speak about scholarships. That's how much the passion is. I explain scholarships, how to get them, tricks and tips that I've learned on my own, and how to also find them. Because what I think most people say is that we know scholarship exists, but it seems like this kind of like fancy thing that only people who know about it can get it, right? And I'm like, no, it's the information is out there, you just have to find it, right? So the purpose of my YouTube is to just, share the information that, if you want it and you really want to pursue it, you can make it. It only depends on you. That's actually my motto. So I will try to explain different scholarships today, but of course, my other co-speakers will also explain the other ones they know about. So today I'll focus on maybe 2 or 3, specifically the Fulbright program. I actually have a bottle from Fulbright here. As you can see, Fulbright España, which is Fulbright Spain. I got this bottle this year because I'm a Fulbright this year for global human development, so international development at Georgetown in the US. And I will also explain the Erasmus Mundus program, the master's program one, because there is another one called Erasmus Mundus, which is only for Europeans. So as people that are coming from international background, the one that will be applicable to you is going to be the Erasmus Mundus program. to do your master's program. So starting with the Fulbright. So I have a list of questions here from Tabiso, so I'll try to make it a bit organized. Yeah, so with Fulbright, basically what you have to know is that there is a commission called the Commission of Fulbright in each country around the world. So for you to apply to a Fulbright, you have to know what commission exists in your country. So it's kind of like a bilateral program. What does that mean? It means that your country has an agreement signed with the US. So you have to know that the Fulbright is only for you to go to the US. You can't use a Fulbright for any other country. I think there's some questions, Tabis. Is it for me? Oh, for the group. Okay. So the Fulbright is for the US. So you can undertake a master's program. You can undertake a short program in the summer. You can also undertake a PhD. It depends on what agreement your country has with Fulbright, right? So in the case of Spain, you can do any of the modalities that I already mentioned. And in my case, I applied for a master's program. And in this case, you would have to find the university yourself. And there is another one that helps you through the process. So there are two modalities in Spain for master's program. You can either find the master's yourself and you do all the process, you get the acceptance letter, and then you apply to Fulbright to get the funding. So for example, I'm gonna use my case. My program, of course in the US, masters are quite expensive. So my program is about, let's say $53,000 just for the tuition, which means that of course I can't pay that on my own. So what I did was that I applied to Fulbright so they could sponsor that. But what you have to know is that there are a bit of like caveats about Fulbright is that depending on the agreement with your country, it might not cover your full tuition. That's something you have to have in mind. So while you're applying to a Fulbright, you should try to also apply to other scholarship on the side, which is what I'm going to explain later on. So with Fulbright, in my case, they would cover only about $23,000, which means that I still had $30,000 just for the tuition. So what I did in my case was to apply for school scholarships. So the university itself, the program gave me additional funding, kind of like to match up what Fulbright was giving me. However, the beautiful thing about Fulbright is that they help you on different levels. They help you with your visa, which is really good, especially when you're dealing with the US. You don't want visa stress. And they also give you a monthly stipend, which can vary depending on as I said, the agreement with your country. So in the case of Spain, you will be getting about, let's say $2,000, which when you think about it might seem a lot, but if you're going to a city like Washington, like me, your rent is already like $1,000, $1,500, which already is like all the money you're getting and your food and whatever expenses you might have. Another thing to know about Fulbright, which is very important, is that depending on your goal and your ideas of what you want to do, you have to have in mind that you have to go back to your country after you're done with your master's program, unless you proceed to do a PhD or you want to stay there to study more. But in terms of like getting a job and transitioning from like your student visa into a non-student visa, maybe like a work permit with a Fulbright, normally, for what I know from Spain and also from what I know from Fulbright, it's not possible. You have to go back to your country because the idea behind the scholarship, not only for Fulbright, which is what I say on my YouTube videos, right? What I preach is that when you apply for a scholarship, it's about what do you want to bring to your society? What do you want to do for your society? It's good because you're writing a motivation letter. Yes, I want a scholarship. I need help. I need money. But what these sponsors want to know is that how are you going to bring value to your community? How are you going to bring value to your people when you get that scholarship? So have in mind that if your plan is to stay in the US after your program, that might not be possible because you have to go back home for 2 years. I don't know if I'm speaking too fast and it's making sense. Please kind of like chat in the chat if you're following well.
Zoom seminar, CCMA group.
There is someone speaking currently. I don't know if they should.
Yeah, that was Isaac. Could you please just mute yourself? No, I think we're
going
all right.
I'll control that. Don't worry, I'll control that. Don't worry. Just keep talking.
Okay, thanks, Dixon. Okay.
Abiso, is it going well? Perfect. I'm trying to go slow, but there's a lot to uncover about scholarships, right? As I said, I get passionate about this topic. So yeah, so remember that you would have to go back to your country. What else about Fulbright? In terms of the stay, it depends. In my case, my program is 2 years, so Fulbright would cover those 2 years. I can renew after my first year, but some program can only be 1 year, so it depends on what you want to do. But as I said, normally you would have to go through the process yourself with the university to get admission and then apply for Fulbright saying, look, I have this admission at ABCD University, this is my preference, and this is what I want to do. So with the process, with Fulbright, age restrictions As far as I know, there is no, I mean, I think early 30s normally, right, for Fulbright. And for PhD, maybe even like 40, depending on, but I said, since it depends on your commission, the country, you know, differs. So it might be different in Spain to maybe Nigeria or South Africa or other countries you guys might come from. And the good thing about Fulbright is that it's a real community. Like when you think of Fulbright, when you read the vision statement or the mission statement of Fulbright, it's kind of like to bridge people from different countries with the US. So if you're interested in things like me, development, international relations, cultural studies, international affairs, anything that has to do with like, you know, politics or sociology, society, it's great for Fulbright because they look for kind of like these profiles. I'm not saying that if you're going to study like engineering or like mathematics or something not from social sciences, you wouldn't get a Fulbright. But the mission of Fulbright is kind of like to create a bridge between the people of other nations and the people of the US. So when you're writing for your application, have this in mind that what is the mission of this organization? What do they want from me, right? So you can kind of like attach that to your scholarship application. What else about Fulbright? So the application itself, I wouldn't say it's that difficult. It's very similar to any other application. Of course, your CV, your motivation letter, they might make some series of questions that are specific. Others are more open. And just kind of like show them why the US, that's what they really want to know, and why not any other country, why that specific university and not any other random university, and what, you know, that would imply for your future advance in your career, right? So that's something they really want to know. And then the Fulbright, I was saying, is a community. So when you think about it, many of ambassadors or like people like in government and like high positions have been Fulbrighters, so students from Fulbright. So it's a big community where after you finish that program, it's not like you're done with the scholarship, but you get really like in touch with people like in high position if that's your interest, and they really make the network very accessible. So it's a great one because not only the money and the funding, but also the network you can get from there and people you can, you know, connect to, which I think it's a fantastic thing for a scholarship, not just, you know, funding. And then in my case, before I move to the Erasmus Mundus program, if you guys have questions, let me know in the chat. But since I said that, you know, the funding wasn't enough from Fulbright, what was good was that I was able to secure another scholarship from a foundation. This is something many people don't know. Foundations, depending on your country, of course, local foundations, international foundations also give scholarships. So you should also check that out in case the Fulbright tuition is not enough for you to cover your master's program, right? And then the good thing is they also pay for your flight. So they give you like an X amount of money to cover your flight to the US when you have to travel, which is a very good thing. So yeah, I don't know if there are any questions, let me know, as I said, in the chat. Then about the Erasmus Mundus program. So the Erasmus Mundus program is for the European Union, so in Europe. And it's a very interesting program, to be honest, because it's also 2 years. But the nice thing about Erasmus Mundus is that you get to study in 4 different universities in Europe, which is very cool for someone who, you know, is coming to Europe maybe for the first time, and you're not restricted to studying in just one country. So it's divided into 4 semesters, and in each semester you will typically study in a different university. And then the first one, which is going to be for your thesis, you can either choose to stay in one of those universities or just choose someone else, which is fantastic. And similarly to Fulbright, Erasmus Mundus is also open to kind of any type of master's program, but to be fair, there is a list of programs they offer. So with a Fulbright, you can choose any master's you want. You want to study science, go for it, whatever it is you want to study. But with Erasmus Mundus, if you're interested in science or humanities or whatever it is, I can actually read some of them out to you on my phone. There are specific programs that exist that you would have to select. So you can't kind of like, you know, make your own program up, but you have to kind of apply for those that already are on the list. And they differ, you know, I'm gonna read some of the ones that exist. So for example, there is one called Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Program in Urban Studies, another one in Environment and Society, another one in Food and Environmental Policy, another one in Chemistry, Management, Development. So as you can see, there's so many programs you can apply to depending on your interest. And of course, they also cover your tuition, which is very good. And the tuition, of course, in the EU is cheaper than in the US, obviously. And because you guys are international students, your tuition will be different to There is from, okay, thank you. So with the EU, since you're going to be an international student, the tuition fee is different to the one local student will be paying. So I mean, like European student will be paying. But if you happen to be an Erasmus Mundus student, you will be paying nothing. But the thing is that you can also apply to Erasmus Mundus and self-fund it yourself, which is something people don't know. But of course, the idea is to get a scholarship, to get a fully funded, to apply to study for this program. And they also cover your flight. They also give you a monthly stipend, which is very good. And what else? As I said, it's in different cities in Europe, so you can also see what program you want to apply to, where it's going to be. Think also of like language requirements. This is not the US, this is Europe, which means that your program, of course, is going to be in English, that's for sure. But if you have a program that one semester is going to be in Sweden, another semester is going to be in Denmark, another semester is going to be in Finland. Better if we can all put ourselves on mute, so that way there will be no interruption. Yeah, thank you.
Sadiq, could you please, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Otherwise, it's quite distracting to be speaking and trying to keep your thoughts while someone is making noise. So as I was saying, with the Erasmus Mundus, oh God, what was I saying? Yeah, depending on what country you go to, remember that it's gonna be in English, but you might have to learn a local language. It might be a requirement of your program. It might not be, it depends, but also take it as an opportunity for you to kind of like learn a new language. If you go to Spain, learn some Spanish. That's gonna be good for your CV, you know, and maybe for your future employability. And if you go to maybe Denmark, if the language seems interesting to you, you can also do that. What else? I actually have a video where I went really in depth, like about 40 minutes in 2 videos on my YouTube channel, NinjaInspiration, where I actually explain Erasmus Mundus from A to Z. So I know that now it's kind of like giving you like the idea of what it is, but it's hard to explain everything, you know, in 15 minutes, because here it's like kind of like, you know, for you to get an idea of what exists. But if you want like a full in-depth video, you can watch that and also, you know, look at the link and apply. The thing about the application though is that with Fulbright, you would apply to the Fulbright, whatever program you want to apply to. Maybe you apply for 3 universities, you apply for your Fulbright application, and that serves you for your grant for the 3 universities. With Erasmus Mundus, it's different. Every master's program has its own application. So if, as I was reading before, if you're interested in urban studies, for example, you would have to apply for the Erasmus Mundus joint program in urban studies. And then that one has its own application process where if you get selected for the program and then for the scholarship, you get the funding. But if you apply for maybe archaeology, just as an example, you have to apply to that again. So there is not like one scholarship program for Erasmus Mundus joint master's program, but like different programs has its own different application. Yes, that's more or less it. I don't know if I have more time to be, so I don't want to like over speak. Let me know how I'm doing.
Okay, no, you're doing okay. So are there still any other points you'd like to add, or should we proceed to the next speaker?
I mean, maybe just like some few last words. I think studying anywhere, honestly, as an international student is fantastic. It doesn't matter if you choose the US at the end or if you choose Europe at the end. I think it's just the experience on its own. I think Tabisa would agree with this. Even in China, wherever you go, the experience is fantastic because you will go through that exciting process of like meeting new people, exchanging ideas, learning about a new country, learning about your program, and you know, making friends for for a lifetime. So definitely, my own idea is that don't apply to one thing. If you really want a scholarship, you have to be really committed to it. It's a very tiring process, but honestly, those who want it get it. But as I always say, not everyone who wants a scholarship will get it, but everyone who tries their best would definitely have a better chance. So yeah, apply to both of them, even like more the DAD that you will hear about now, and then see which one works out, right? And take your time to really kind of like develop a great application letter and understand your why. Like the thing that I think makes people fail with scholarships is that they don't know why they're applying to a scholarship. They just apply because they want a scholarship. And that's not an enough reason for you to get a scholarship. You need to know your why, what exactly you want to do with that scholarship in your country, for example. Why is it important that they're giving you that scholarship and not someone else? What it is about you that makes you special, let's say, that you can contribute to society. So just have that in mind. And I wish everyone good luck. Thank you so much, Tabiso, for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Pulumi. That was a wonderful talk. And yes, I think maybe I can also add to the last point that you just said. Again, applying for an international scholarship is to convince the funders as to why do you think they should invest on you. So you should make sure that you thoroughly explain that on your application, including your essays. And once they capture that, I'm telling you, they'll select you. With that being said, Pulumi as well, could you just kindly share your YouTube profile on the chat so that everybody can be able to follow all the other scholarship profiles that you did. So I will be moving to the next speaker. His name is Jaco Hauptster. He's a South African. He works as a program advisor for the German Academic Exchange Services in Johannesburg. He holds a Bachelor of Arts with triple majors in German, French, and English, obtained with a cum laude from Wits University. Currently is completing his honors in English from the same institution. He has traveled extensively several times in Germany in exchange programs, and he's fluent in English, German, French, and Afrikaans. The German Academic Exchange Service is the world's largest funding organization for the international exchange of students and researchers in Germany and in Africa. Mr. Jaco, the floor is yours. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Tabiso. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. I've got a short little presentation, so I'm just going to share my screen, okay?
Yeah, sure. Whoever, Dixon, can you please give him access? Sure. There we go.
Yeah, I already do. Like that? That's fine, right? Yeah, you guys see it, no? Okay. Yeah, so like Tabiso said, my name is Jaco, and I work for the German Academic Exchange Service. And the German Academic Exchange Service, or the DARD, is the largest funding organization in the world in terms of how many people it's funded. So it's funded about 2 million people since its inception, since like, I would say the 1950s, worldwide. So what the DARD does is we don't just award scholarships. It's not just about scholarships. It's all about international academic exchange. So the DARD was formed because German universities want to get international students into their universities, and they want to send German students out to other countries. So the DARD handles this big process of internationalizing German universities and other universities across the world as well. The DARD is very focused on internationalizing German universities, but they've got many funding programs, project funding programs, not for individuals, but for projects for inter-university exchange. So German universities can cooperate with other universities. Maybe they can start joint degree programs, joint graduate schools, and so on. So the DARD awards scholarships, they award funding for higher education cooperation. They do a lot, and it's all about internationalization, people moving across the world, academics, researchers, students, mobility, people moving. Okay, the DARD is very, very big. Our head office is in Germany, and we've also got offices all over the world. The orange dots are regional offices. They're like extensions of our head office. And then we've got small information centers, like the one in Johannesburg where I work. And the information centers do exactly that. They provide information on study and research in Germany and scholarships. And we engage with South African universities to form partnerships with German universities and so on. Okay, but you can see in Africa, especially, there's many offices all over the world, but there are about, in Sub-Saharan Africa, 4 major offices that provide support and advice and information for African students and African institutions of higher education who are interested in higher education in Germany. Okay, so why should you study in Germany? Germany has a really, really interesting education landscape, a higher education landscape. They've got about 400 higher education institutions. In comparison to South Africa, we've got 26. Okay, so you can see 26, 400. You've got so much to choose from. There's literally, if you can think about the most niche research or the most niche topic, you'll be able to do it. There's a degree program in Germany where you do like nautical stuff, like how being on ships, and you spend one semester on a ship off the coast of Norway, like crazy. So you've got so many different institutions that offer so many different things, and you can find something really, really interesting for yourself and for your future career. So Germany offers a lot. A really cool thing about Germany is there's virtually no tuition fees. This is true for the most part. There are exceptions, but there aren't tuition fees. And our scholarships that the DART awards, we award a stipend. So a stipend for your living costs because there are no tuition fees. Okay, so our scholarships are really classical in the sense of we support your living so that you can reach your potential as a researcher or as a student. Okay, Germany has state-of-the-art facilities. We all know this. Germany is famous for engineering, for automation, for their great equipment. So especially like since maybe if you're a PhD student here in South Africa, you can apply for a short-term grant to do some part of your research in Germany. So maybe there's the equipment that you need for your research isn't available here in South Africa. So then you go to Germany for 3 months and you benefit from the equipment there and from the facilities there and the infrastructure there. Germany invests a lot in research, a lot. Into research infrastructure, into jobs in research. So there's a lot of opportunities on offer. A great thing about Germany as well is it offers a high quality of life and it's relatively cheap in comparison to if you look at international standards, okay? The most exciting thing about Germany, of course, is that it's in the heart of Europe, okay? So you go to Germany, relatively cheap, cheaper than Netherlands, cheaper than France, cheaper than UK, no tuition fees also. And you go to Germany, but you've got access to all these European countries, okay? So you join an international student community and you have the opportunity as a student or as exchange student or master student or PhD student in Germany to really form connections for your future career, to form contacts, to build networks, and you can really engage 2 hours away by flight to Netherlands, take a train to Poland for a seminar, take a bus to Belgium for an international conference, really easy, okay? And Germany is a really great place for students because you can move around really easily, great public transport, great facilities, great infrastructure. So Germany really offers a very comfortable and easygoing environment for international students. I guess, yeah. Especially if you can speak the language. But like Pulumi said, if you're serious about studying abroad and if you're serious about going abroad and doing this, you must try to learn languages, some languages at least, because that's how you really get to know the culture and that's how you really get to know people. So yeah. Our scholarships, these are, I'm just gonna go quickly through our scholarships. These are the scholarships that we offer. We offer scholarships in Germany and we offer scholarships from master level. So we have no funding available for undergrad degrees, but our scholarships start from master level. So we've got scholarships in Germany. We award master and PhD scholarships to South Africans in South Africa, and we award master and PhD scholarships to Sub-Saharan Africa as to Sub-Saharan African nationals in Sub-Saharan African countries, okay? So our organization is not just all about brain drain, getting South Africans or getting people from other countries to go to Germany, especially in Africa. There's a lot of development work that's being done here, as you can see with these programs where we also award scholarships for master and PhD degrees in Sub-Saharan Africa. So our work is really extensive. Okay, the value of our scholarships, especially for the ones in Germany, but the ones here in Sub-Saharan Africa as well, they work the same. You get a monthly stipend since there are no tuition fees. And this monthly stipend depends on your academic status. So as a master student, you would get 861 euros. As a postdoc professor, you would get 2,150 euros. Okay. Then you get travel allowance, your flight to Germany and back, and we pay health insurance for the entire stay. Okay. And if you've got the letter from the supervisor or the letter of admission into a degree program or something, and you've got our letter of award and our health insurance, you can apply for the student visa, then you're good to go. You've got your letter of admission into the program or the degree or the whatever, and you've got the letter of award for your monthly stipend, your financial means, and your health insurance and your flight, and then you can apply for your visa. We've got one major requirement for our scholarships. We don't have age restrictions or anything, but this is true for public funding for scholarships in Europe, especially your latest degree cannot be older than 6 years. So you need to apply within 6 years of graduating from your latest degree, okay? That's one central requirement. So we look at your academic age as opposed to your biological age, okay? So for master in Germany, you can find more information about all these things that I'm talking about. There are links in the bar on top and there's QR codes. So you can just click on them if you like. But master scholarships in Germany, we've got limited options available. So you can't do any field. there are limited options. So in the first scholarship program, the EPOS program, we award scholarships for pre-selected master degrees in development-related fields in Germany. So stuff like agriculture, urban planning, development studies, media studies, environmental sciences, what else? Engineering-related sciences, yeah. So master degrees in development-related fields. And what you need for this scholarship is you need a first academic degree, so preferably a bachelor in honors or a 4-year professional degree. And then you need 2 years work experience in the field, okay? And then you can apply for the master scholarship. The second one, Helmut Schmidt, it's the same principle. We award scholarships for pre-selected degrees in Germany in law, economics, and governance fields, public administration fields. And here you don't need work experience. So you get your bachelor, your honors, or your 4-year professional degree, and then you can go do the master in Germany, okay? These are two scholarship programs, EPOS and Helmut Schmidt. The focus here is development, okay? So the idea here is you go to Germany, you gain knowledge, and you bring that knowledge back home, okay? These fields are development fields, law, economics, governance fields. So the idea is you go to Germany, gain knowledge, and you bring that back home, and you help to develop your home country, okay? The third option, we've got scholarships for master degrees in arts and architecture. So it's performing arts, visual arts, music, and architecture. So if you want to do a master in those fields, you can apply for a scholarship. Here, there aren't pre-selected degrees. You can apply for any master degree in the arts or in architecture, and then you apply for our funding separately. Okay, more details on how to apply and exact requirements you'll find in the links. We've got many scholarships on offer, so I can't go into each one like specifically, but my details are at the back at the end of the presentation. So if you're really, really interested, you can write to me and we can take it from there. So for PhD in Germany, like I said, the first two, short-term and long-term doctoral research, that's for when you're a PhD student in your home country and you want to do some part of your doctoral research in Germany. So you want to, I don't know, access some sort of equipment or work with some sort of supervisor. So then you can apply for short-term, 1 to 6 months, or long-term, 7 to 10 months, and do a few months in Germany and do some part of your doctoral research in Germany. We also award a scholarship for full PhD in Germany. And then we award a small postdoc scholarship for university academics. And we've got a lot of information on our website. So if you want to find out how to find a supervisor or any other quick questions, frequently asked questions, you can check out that link. And there's a lot of funding opportunities on offer for PhDs, especially in Germany for doctoral students, postdoctoral students. And our scholarships are just some of them. But in this link, funding guide, you'll find all scholarship opportunities for Germany. Okay, so check out that link. So in South Africa, like I said, we award master and PhD degree scholarships to South African citizens. And we do this with the National Research Foundation, the NRF here in South Africa. So each year we award 60 master and 60 PhD scholarships to South Africans for any field at any South African university. And you apply through the National Research Foundation. You follow their guidelines. The applications for next year have closed, but you apply, it's open each year. You can check out the link for more information. But the really, really great thing about this scholarship is you get to do your master PhD here in South Africa. We pay your tuition fees, everything here, but you can still apply to do short-term research in Germany as a master or PhD student. And you can also apply to do summer schools in Germany if you hold this scholarship. And then our scholarships in Sub-Saharan Africa, it's the same thing, master and PhD scholarships for Sub-Saharan Africans in Sub-Saharan Africa. But these are in selected fields because it's at selected departments or centers or research units. These are mostly in development related fields. So you have to check if there's a degree, master scholarship or PhD scholarship in your field. So it's in countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Tanzania, countries like that. And you as a South African student can go to those countries and do your master PhD there if they've got something in your field. Or other Sub-Saharan African nationals can come to South Africa and do their master PhD here if there's something here in their field. Okay, so it's all about inter-Africa mobility, African students, researchers moving about, and capacity building, obtaining their master and PhDs here, and maybe becoming university lecturers. Okay, so it's about sustainability, capacity building, and training future leaders here in Africa. Okay, the great thing about these scholarships as well is you can apply to do short-term research in Germany or you can apply to do the summer schools in Germany. So you get to do your master PhD here in Sub-Saharan Africa or in Kenya, for instance, but you've still got this Germany experience. Okay, those are our major scholarships. There are some other ones perhaps, but you can all check that out on our website. But yeah, like Pulumi said, our scholarships are difficult to apply to. It's not easy to get our scholarships, especially the scholarships for Germany. They're very, very difficult. You deal with international competition, but you never know if you don't try. And that is why our information center is here in Johannesburg for South Africa. So if you're really, really interested in applying for these scholarships, please do email me, because I can offer you more advice and tips, and we can work together and see if we can get you to Germany and get you to obtain this international experience. I mean, if you do your master in Germany, nobody's going to send you back after you do your master. You don't have to come back to South Africa. You don't have to pay back the scholarship. You don't have to work for some time for us or for something. So you're free to do whatever you want. If you finish your master in Germany, you can stay in Germany. You can apply for a job seekers visa and look for a job there in an NGO or something. Or you can come back to South Africa, or you can apply for a new scholarship. So yeah, I mean, any sort of study abroad, international education experience is going to give you an edge on your CV. That's no doubt about it. And like Pulumi said, I've also done these exchange programs and so on. Every single person that I've talked to who's done something like this, they've only got good things to say. It's very, very rare when that you hear that somebody had a bad experience. You go to this new country, you meet new people, you meet people so easily, like so easily, you make friends so fast, and you just explore a new country and a new culture with new friends, and you just become a much more well-rounded person. Like, your world really opens up. Like, it's really, really an amazing experience, and everybody should try to do it. If you need more information, you can book a consultation with us. If you want to speak to me one-on-one, you can do that, follow that link, or you can download some electronic brochures with that link or that QR code. We've got some electronic brochures available for you, so you can check that out. And then you can email me anytime, dart@wits.ac.za. And yeah, if you want to ask anything else, follow our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Our Instagram is really cool. We collect stories from people who have held our scholarships or been to Germany, or Germans who have been to South Africa, and we collect it in this really nice pattern, so you can see pictures from actual South African students who've been to Germany, and you can see that people have done this. It's not impossible. So go check out our Instagram, check out our website, and contact me if you've got any more questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tabiso.
Thank you very much, Yaku, for a wonderful presentation. And actually, I liked when you said the word edge. You know, we as Wits, once we obtain our degrees, we normally say Wits gives you the edge. So with that being said as well, as Yaku has said that they are based in Johannesburg, so their offices are at Wits University, the Bloemfontein campus, those of you who are around the area, so you can always pop them and visit there. But of course, that is once the universities allow people to come back. All right, with that being said, I'm gonna move to the next speaker. Her name is Asafi Kamparko, a South African who holds a Bachelor of Arts in Honors from the University of Cape Town, specializing in development studies. Following her graduation, she completed a double master's degree in public administration and government from the London School of Economics and Political Sciences, LSE, and Peking University through the Patrick and Margaret Flanagan Scholarship, which only focuses on women. For her contribution to addressing socioeconomic injustice in low-income communities, she was selected as a fellow for the South African Washington International Program, SAWIP, of which is hosted in America, and the Young African Leaders Initiative. A passionate advocate for inclusive education, she has worked for numerous non-profit organizations, including the World Affairs Council in Washington, DC. She aspires to become a public sector consultant, leveraging her internationally garnered experience to drive innovation in education to accelerate poverty alleviation in South Africa. Unfortunately, you won't be seeing a face, but she was kind enough to send a picture. So while she does a presentation, I will share her picture on the screen so that we can see what she looks like. Dixon, can you give me access to share the screen so that I can put her picture? But in the meantime, Asafika, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tabiso. Am I clear?
Yes, you're good to go.
All right, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where in the world you are. My name is Asafi Kamparko. I want to be clear, I'm going to be talking about two separate things. The first is my scholarship, which is the Patrick and Margaret Flanagan Scholarship. And I'm also going to be discussing my degree program at the London School of Economics in Peking University. But seeing that the objective of this seminar is to inspire students to study abroad, I thought that perhaps I should start off by sharing my own personal story. That is the journey that led up to me studying abroad. I was born in Umtata in the Eastern Cape province in South Africa, but I spent the majority of my childhood and teen years living in a very small town called Kokstad in KwaZulu-Natal. After completing high school, I completed my undergraduate studies at the University of Cape Town. And as Tabiso has said, I hold 2 degrees from UCT. The first is a Bachelor of Social Science with a triple major in International Relations, Public Policy, and Industrial Sociology. And the second is a Bachelor of Social Science Honors in Development Studies. So despite being a very bright and diligent student, I never believed that studying abroad was in the realm of possibility for me. And so it wasn't something that I even considered. But the turning point came when I was selected for a leadership development program called SAWIP, the South Africa Washington International Program, that afforded me the opportunity to travel to the United States, to Washington, D.C. for the first time, to gain professional experience at the World Affairs Council for a period of about 2 months. And upon my return to South Africa, I began to see the world and my place in it very differently. So I began to believe that I too could achieve anything that I put my mind to. So at that point, I began to search for scholarships to fund my studies abroad. And I learned about the Patrick and Margaret Flanagan Scholarship, which is my sponsor. The scholarship enables South African women graduates, so it excludes men, to attend university abroad to obtain a postgraduate qualification, that is a master's or a PhD. It is administered by Rhodes University on behalf of the Flanagan Trust, and they provide funding for 2 years up to the value of 450,000 South African rands for each individual year. So the scholarship pays fees to your university of choice, and then they give you pocket money each quarter. Selection is based on academic merit and broader qualities of intellect and character, which of course, as Pelumi and Yaku have mentioned, you will have to motivate for in your cover letter. As far as application materials are concerned, they require a full CV, a cover letter, of course, motivating why you should be selected as a recipient of the award. And in the cover letter, you also have to detail where and what it is you want to study. So you must have given that some thought. A full academic record is also required, including degree certificates if they are available at the time of application. If not, you will have to indicate so. Later on in the process, once they have selected candidates, they will also require academic references from your lecturers. So shortlisted candidates are invited to an in-person interview in Grahamstown, also in the Eastern Cape, and all expenses are covered by the trust. And when I interviewed in 2016, there were 8 panelists, which can be quite intimidating. But if you prepare thoroughly, and if you know what has motivated you to apply to study abroad, then that calms your nerves a bit. So what I appreciate about the Patrick and Margaret Flanagan Scholarship is that it allows you to study anywhere in the world you choose. Again, this is only for South African women graduates. So when it was formed in the 1900s, the requirement was that candidates had to study in the United Kingdom, but that has since changed. I know of recipients of the award who have studied in the United States, in the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and even Uganda at Makerere. So when I applied for my scholarship, I did so before I applied for my degree program. So as I said, the scholarship allows you to choose where in the world you want to study, but I applied for my scholarship first. And I did that in August of 2016. If I remember correctly, the closing date was the 31st of August. The final interview was held in November, and the final results were also released in the same month. So I applied for my scholarship first, was awarded the scholarship. I knew about it by the end of November of 2016, and only then did I start to apply to my desired university, which was the London School of Economics. And I applied to the London School of Economics because a lecturer of mine at the University of Cape Town had studied at the school and spoke very highly of it. So I began to look into it, and I found the program of study, which I am a part of, which is a double degree master's in public administration and government. So the degree takes place over the course of 2 full academic years, with the first year spent in Beijing at Peking University, and the second year spent in London at the London School of Economics. And this program of study consists of 2 master's degrees, one from Peking in Beijing, and the other one from the London School of Economics in the UK. So before I end, I just want to share with you my personal reasons for choosing this particular program of study. My reasons for choosing my particular program were academic, professional, and personal. I liked the idea of studying and living in 2 cosmopolitan cities and 2 universities in 2 different countries on 2 different continents. And as someone who aspires to work in development and public policy and to build an international career, it was important to me to go to China to get a feel for the society and the culture and to learn the language, given China's growing prominence in the international political economy and its influence also on the African continent. And it was also important for me to study in Europe, given the world's ties with Europe and also South Africa's diplomatic and trade relationships with Europe. And so I share this to say, again, in your cover letter, when you motivate for why you should be awarded a scholarship, you need to emphasize what career you aspire to have in future, what you envision your professional career looking like. That's very important. But also you can add your personal reasons for wanting to study where you wanted to study. A personal reason for why I wanted to study in China was that I wanted to be challenged. China is a society that is very different to anything I've ever known. And so I wanted to go to China to be challenged in different ways, to go to a society, number one, that I was unfamiliar with, where I didn't speak the language, where I was not used to the diet. There are lots of things about China that shocked me, even though I had read about them beforehand. And so I wanted that experience. And also coming to London, I wanted to live in a place that was very diverse, in that there are people from all over the world in London. And so I wanted that experience. I wanted the intercultural exchange, and I wanted, beyond my studies and my professional aspirations, to grow as an individual, to cultivate my interpersonal skills, to cultivate my relational skills. And so those are some things that you can include in your cover letter to show that you have thought not just about your professional career and your academic interests, but also how you as an individual, at the individual level, how you will grow as a leader and how you will become a better person for yourself, but also for your community, your country, and the world at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Asafika. Sorry, I had an internet glitch, but I see I'm back. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. And also, I think what I would like to add there as well is that among all the scholarships that you'll be applying for, you will find that 98% of them, they've got one common thing. And that common thing is references. So it is always advisable to keep or to be in good terms with your lecturers, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who will be giving you a reference, and that reference will qualify in giving you admission. So always make sure that you respect your lecturers, or the supervisor that you choose, it's someone that will be working in your good favor. With that being said, I'll be moving to our fourth speaker. His name is Jimmy Billy. If I say your surname incorrectly, please, I apologize in advance. But his surname, I'm going to attempt, is Mkandawiri. I hope I'm saying it right, but you can say it once you start presenting. Billy is a Zambian who holds a bilateral Chinese-Zambian government scholarship and is currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in economics and international relations at a diverse and competitive Yuan College of Peking University. Billy has participated and helped coordinate in a number of Peking University African Students Association called POSA activities. He has also worked with the Peking University African think tank, PET, in the publication of their first ever report, the 5,000 Mile Report. He's also the current General Secretary of POSA. Billy, the floor is yours.
Dixon, could you please let me share my screen? How do I go about this? I'm sorry about that. Just
look at the green button at the bottom that says share, and then you must open your presentation first, and then it will go to the presentation.
Oh, Billy, you can share the file with me, and then I would help you out.
Can you guys see that? Good afternoon and good evening to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you to Tabisa for that introduction. My name is Jimmy Billy Mkandawiri, and I come here, and I'm currently studying and doing my undergraduate studies in China, Peking University. And for my segment, I'm going to generally talk about Chinese scholarships and to be the Chinese government-sponsored scholarships. What I'll cover here, I'll be fast. Sorry, could you please mute the mic, whoever that is? Thank you. I'll cover I'll cover 4 to 5 points. The first one is going to be what type of scholarships can you find in China? And the second one is why should you choose China for your higher or further education? My third one is who can apply for these scholarships that are offered in China? And the last, and I think the most important one is how can I apply for a scholarship to study in China? And when is the right time to apply for a scholarship to study in China? So what type of scholarships can I find in China? Firstly, I narrowed it down to 4 main specific scholarships. The first one is government-funded scholarships, which is the one that I'm currently on. These are the ones I'll focus on for today. And other scholarships include university-specific scholarships, private scholarships, and the Confucius Institute scholarships. You might be wondering right now, why should you choose China for your further or higher education? And I have listed a few reasons below here. And most importantly, I personally think is financial benefits, because you definitely get a full ride scholarship, 100% scholarship paid for from the start of your program to the end of your program. And you get a monthly stipend, you get health insurance, and For most of the scholarships, you also get some fundings. For example, if you want to buy school books, you want to pay for trips and all that, everything is covered in the scholarship that I'll be talking about today. And secondly, the second most important thing is academic benefits. Just like my colleagues who've come before me have already spoken, earning a scholarship, particularly a prestigious one, for example, studying at Peking University in China, you will be distinguished from your classmates, be it in high school or whatever program you might be doing now. And I feel that you have more opportunities opened up when you get a scholarship to study abroad. You will be seeing the world from a different point of view, from a different perspective, as compared to when you study or when you choose to study back home. Another academic benefit is you get networking opportunities. When you study abroad, you get to meet all sorts of people, different types of people from all walks of life, different countries, different cultural backgrounds, and you get to meet new friends. And these can be future contacts, not only friends for the meantime as you're studying here, but even as you complete your program, you still be in contact with these people, and who knows, these people might help you acquire opportunities in different parts of the world. And another one is real world experiences. You get to have experience as you study abroad. For example, for myself, I came here soon after completing my high school in 2015. And this was the first time I was traveling alone outside Africa. And that was the first time I ever experienced living alone. And I feel the me from back then to the me right now, I have seen a huge difference in my personal growth and the experience I've acquired. So that's another one. And another one is whether you get the scholarship or not in the end, the application process itself is one that can enrich your life, and you get experience from this as well, teaching you for when you need to apply for a different scholarship or when you apply for more scholarships in the future. And who can apply for the scholarships in China? I've narrowed it down to age-specific scholarships, and that's how they are divided here in China. For undergraduate degree scholarships, which I will be focusing on today because that's what I'm doing, anyone below the age of 25 or below, you can apply for an undergraduate degree scholarship. And then for master's degrees, it's 25 to 35 years. And for a PhD or a doctoral degree, 35 years going up. And to the most important part of my presentation today, how can I apply for these scholarships to study in China? And when is the right time to apply for one such scholarship? Well, I'll start with the most important part. How do I find these Chinese scholarships and how to tell if they're legitimate? Because I've had a lot of friends and people I know applying for scholarships to China where they're asked to pay a deposit fee, they're asked to pay this and this amount. Remember that when you're applying for a scholarship, you are the one who has to be receiving the money. You do not have to pay for anything. You do not have to pay any amount. So please make sure that you're using official websites when inquiring about these said scholarships. And the best way to go. These are known as the CGS funded scholarships, or the CSC, which is the Chinese Scholarship Council funded scholarships. These scholarships are usually 100% funded. In most cases for undergraduate students, they are always 100% funded, and they include your tuition fees, a monthly stipend to help you with your day-to-day life, a comprehensive medical insurance plan, and a return air ticket, meaning they get to pay for your flight coming to China. And when you complete your degree successfully, they'll also pay for your flight back home. But in between, they do not have or give or offer any other flight tickets, only two, which is a return when you're coming and when you're going back. And for the Chinese government scholarships, they are truly abundant when it comes to the undergraduate level. This is because in China, there are over 250 universities. I'm not sure of the specific number, but all these universities mostly offer 100% scholarships to international students each year. So I'm sure if you do the math there, you can clearly see that the probability of you getting a scholarship to one of these universities is going to be very high. And I'll share the website in a few minutes. And this is the official website that you should use. Do not trust any other websites or any other agents that say you should pay this amount as a deposit fee, pay this for consultation. This is a scholarship, and it's the one that has to fund your studies there. You do not have to pay for anything. The only thing I think you have to pay for would be for your visa before coming here, and that you be paying for that home before you travel to China. We're still going to look at how to apply for scholarships. One important thing to remember is the only way to have a shot at winning scholarships is to apply for scholarships. Do not just accumulate all these, for example, this Zoom session we're having, which is encouraging you to study abroad. You've heard of all these interesting scholarships. Don't just listen to it and then write the list down and leave it there. Feel like you do not stand a chance to apply for these scholarships. Remember that you miss 100% of the shots you do not take. So I would advise everyone, be it an undergrad, master, PhD level, you just try applying for these scholarships and see if you're going to get in or not. But always remember, each scholarship has its own specific requirements. And for the Chinese government scholarships, the website that I'll send has a very, very detailed list of instructions that you can follow on how to apply for these scholarships and how to go about the whole application process from start to finish, and how to track your scholarship if you've been accepted, at what stage you are at in the scholarship application process. And if you need to do interviews and all that, the website has all that information. And for a few scholarship tips that I'm going to give you now, the first one is always be careful. And I think I've already stressed this enough. Remember, you shouldn't have to pay for scholarships or scholarship searches. Make sure the scholarship information and offers you receive from whichever website you're applying to, whichever agency you're using, be it the embassy, be it someone you know, they have to be legitimate, and make sure that whatever you're applying to is backed and real. The second one is always be thorough. China also offers not only these full-on ride scholarships of 5 to 6 years, 4 years. We also have programs that are 1 year, 6 months, exchange summer programs. And I would advise you to not overlook any of these smaller scholarships. As I feel, for example, if you come here for, let's say, 2 months, 3 months, that would also open more doors and opportunities for you to see what you want to do with your academic life in the future. Do not overlook any of these 2-month scholarships and say, I do not want to do this because it's too short for me or anything like that. I'd advise you to apply for that, go through it, and see how that would help you in the future. The third is be organized, always be organized. Remember, each scholarship is different and requires different documentation, but for the most I'm going to list down a few of the things that you need when applying for an undergrad scholarship to China through the Chinese government. So basically what you need are these 4 basic requirements. The first one being cover letter or a personal statement. A cover letter is something that you're going to write that's going to be sent to the judging committee or the scholarship committee that has to give a short but in-depth, detailed background about yourself. And you also have to explain in this short, in-depth, detailed writing about your background and explain why you stand or why you deserve to win this scholarship. And secondly, transcript. These are your let's say you're in high school right now and you'll be graduating, be it this year or next year. I'm sure you'll be writing your final exam soon. And you have to use your transcripts when applying for these scholarships. For example, if you're applying for science major subjects, you definitely have to have mathematics, physics, chemistry in your transcript, and also have good grades in those subjects. If you're applying for humanities or social sciences, you have to have the relevant social science and humanities subjects. And another thing I did not list here is language requirements. For studying in China at an undergraduate level, for most of the scholarships and the Chinese government scholarship, it requires that you should study in Chinese, which is what I'm currently doing right now. But do not worry, you do not have to know Chinese beforehand. You do not have to be a Chinese guru before coming to China. You'll be given 1 year, if you get accepted, and when you get accepted, study in China. The Chinese government scholarship also covers 1 year of Chinese language, intensive Chinese language training. And after that 1 year, that is when you're going to start studying your major in whichever university you chose and in the Chinese language. And this is for the undergraduate level. For the master's level, PhD level, most of the programs are taught in English. And the third basic requirement you need are essays. This essay is going to be something that you have to write about the major or the course that you want to take and why you want to take this course and what motivates you to take this course. So it's also going to be a short 1 page, 700 to 1,000 word essay that you have to write. But always remember, this is one of the key areas that's going to help you win the scholarship. It will help you stand out from the crowd. So make sure you write your essay very diligently, make it in good writing, and it should be an honest story. And the last thing that you need is a resume. I know when you're in high school and a fresh graduate, we do not really need or use resumes, but you should know how to write one because you'll be needing these resumes when applying for various scholarships at undergrad level. I think for most scholarships, you do need a resume. So learn how to write one up like that, and you need a resume. And another thing I did not list here, I just saw it, sorry. You also need recommendation letters. For the undergrad level, for the Chinese government scholarships, you need 2 recommendation letters, be it from your teacher, your headmaster, or whichever. I think it should be, you should get a recommendation letter from the teacher who's teaching you the course or major that you want to pursue. So for example, if you want to pursue engineering, try getting a recommendation letter from your mathematics, physics, or chemistry teacher. And the other recommendation letter would be best if you get it from one of the teaching staff who is probably the headmistress or headmaster in your school. And the next application tip is always be honest, guys. Do not lie about your grades, your membership, what you've done in high school. You should always be honest because the committee really does do background checks. And sometimes when you write these recommendation letters, they do call whoever you listed on your recommendation letter and inquire more about you. So always be honest when you're applying and writing down your personal statement or writing down your essay. And be proactive. This simply means, like I said in the beginning, do not just apply for one scholarship and think you get it. Apply to as many scholarships as you can. For the Chinese government scholarships, you can apply to as many universities as you want. So that's one upside to it. And if you're applying through the website, you'll be given an option to apply to 3 different universities. So I'd advise you to choose those 3 universities diligently and choose them in accordance to the major and the course you are wishing to pursue. And the last 2 scholarship application tips, be diligent. Always pay attention to the details. Like I said, I'm going to send in the website that you have to use when applying for scholarships to China. Always pay attention to the details because the website has all the information from A to Z, how to apply, when to apply, and how to go about it. And the last one and most important thing is always be on time. Remember, when you're applying for scholarships, there is a start day and a deadline. Do not miss the due dates. And I'd advise you to, since we have these phones and everything like that, you can set a reminder on your phone probably a week before the deadline, reminding you that there's a scholarship deadline coming up in a week or in a month. And it's best you send in your applications before, way long before the deadlines. And when is the right time to apply for a scholarship, a Chinese government scholarship? I think this all depends on the scholarship deadline. But for Chinese government scholarships, the application process usually starts in December and ends in late April. And this is for undergrad programs. So I'd advise you to start, looking at the time right now, already in October, I would advise you to start getting all these requirements that we've talked about, because I know applying is really a studious process. So you need your essays, you need your results, you need your resume or CV. So getting all these documents ready beforehand would really help you. And by the time December, January is coming, you just send them in and wait for a response. So I think that's that for the Chinese government scholarships. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask in the chat box or raise your hand, and I'll be glad and willing to help. For now, I'll send in the link I was talking about.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, please. When would the scholarships for master's application commence for China?
Master's scholarships through the Chinese government or the Chinese Scholarship Council are also from December, usually late December, mid to late December, all the way to late April, usually the last day of April.
Okay, okay. Same time with undergraduate?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just that I'm focusing on the undergraduate level. It's the same for everyone from undergrad, master's, PhD.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Billy, for that wonderful presentation. Also, what I liked, you mentioned the idea of legitimate scholarships. So sometimes if you're applying for a scholarship and you're not sure, the first point of contact that you can go through is that certain embassy. Reach out to them, because at the end of the day, you live to get a visa through them. Mostly, it's much easier if you connect with them on Facebook, because sometimes they forgot their general email is something that is, say, maybe something embassy .co something, of which is not attended by one person. So they might miss your question. So just reach out to them on their social media, and they will be able to tell you if that scholarship is legitimate or not. And also, again, when Billy talked about honesty, if you're gonna be starting to apply for those emails, right now with social media and the idea of communication as aspects, just try to check your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, and see what you posted. And if you posted something that you think might work in the negativity on you getting that scholarship, make sure that you change your settings and hide everything. I would say, especially with China, because China doesn't have the same democracy as the other countries have. Even if it's not you who posted that, it might be something that I posted and then you share it as well. It might work in, it might not work in your favor when you apply for such scholarships when they do the things of screening. And also the other advice is, before you apply for scholarships, just go and look at their frequently asked questions and thoroughly read them, because you might start, it's a daunting process, and then find that in the middle of the application process, you don't qualify. So it's always advisable to check that and see if you thoroughly apply, and then you start investing time. With that being said, I know all our speakers, they've spoke, but we decided to throw you a surprise. So we've got the last scholarship that we'll be speaking about. It's also studying in China. I am the recipient of that scholarship, alongside with my two colleagues on this chart, Dixon and Mr. Siwaji. The scholarship is called the Yanqing Academy of Peking University. So the scholarship, actually what they did, it's more or less the same as the Rhodes Scholarship in the UK. Their admission acceptance criteria, they only select 2.7% on a yearly basis. It's open to all countries of the world. Their age restriction is 25 years of age. They only give you an exception if you went to the military, of which now they extend the age up to 28 years. But I would say give it a try. I've seen people where they've been more than 29 and they've admitted them. The scholarship is lucrative in a sense that you've got, at the end of the year when you graduate, we'll be graduating with 6 different degrees. All of them is Masters of Law in China Studies, and then you choose your concentration. So this ranges from, it can be literature and culture, philosophy and religion, law and society, economics and management, politics and international relations, and history and archaeology. And the beauty of it is that it's very diverse and exclusive in a sense that from their programs, the modules are not rigid. So you might take something in politics and IR and end up doing something that is into philosophy and religion. The only law that they thoroughly enforce is that if your concentration is literature and culture, your thesis must be focused on literature and culture. And also you've got access to the entire university. So you might go and take a module in engineering. You might go and take a module in science. You might go and take anywhere. You've got access to that, obviously, which it's very exclusive in that sense. But then the only disadvantage is that almost 90% of those courses are taught in Chinese. Only a few of them are in English. And again, the other advantage of it is that you get to travel almost the entire China, in a sense that we have a field trip. So last year, before the pandemic happened, we went on a week-long field trip to Chengdu to learn about Chengdu in terms of their history, art, culture, the tech, because Chengdu is a tech country. I mean, so not country, province. And then from there, even again, all the other programs, the modules that you teach, they are trying to make it diverse in a sense that we learn about China from the history part of it to the present part of it and to the future. So again, based on what you chose as your program, there are certain courses where you'll be able to travel to China. For example, some, travel inside of China. Some students have went to Shanghai, some students have went to Beijing, some have went to other provinces, of which again, all of those things are fully paid for. You don't have to pay anything. And where you apply for research. But let's say maybe if you want to explore the BRR in China, you can apply for a week-long or 2-week-long, they call it the research grants. And then if they approve your budget, you go there and travel for like 2 or 3 weeks, doing your research there. And then they fund everything for you. Again,
Divine.
The application process, it's not, Asaya, could you kindly, please, Mr. Stefan, could you kindly please mute yourself? The application process is not that long. Of course, the first things they want your biological information. And then from there, it's going to be, you have to have an essay where you tell them why do you think you qualify for this scholarship. But then it's divided into 2. You have to talk a little bit personally about yourself. And then the other aspect is why do you think you are
Tabiso, unmute yourself. You're muted.
Oh, okay. So was I unmuted all along? No. Dixon? You were saying
just few seconds ago. I don't know what happened. So just
oh, okay. Okay. So everybody managed to hear what I was saying so far, right?
Yeah, I could. I guess every other person was.
Okay, cool. And then again, yeah, so the application process is open. It's closing somewhere in December. I think it's the 5th of December, if I'm not mistaken, but it's just like right at the beginning of December. But this is open for international students. I think for Chinese students, it's already closed. We will share the link to that application on the chat. And then from here onwards, we'll be taking questions. So you're more than welcome to pose questions. I would say, you can ask, you can raise your hand and ask, or you can also type in the chat box. So Dixon and Billy and Pelumi, Yaku, Asafika, and Siwaji will be helping to answer your questions. My internet is a bit shady, so just in case if I lose some, Dixon, just help me. And then, yeah, we're ready to take the first set of, oh, by the way, I didn't even introduce myself. So this is weird. My name is Tabiso, as I've said. I am a South African as well. I studied at the University of Johannesburg for a BA in social sciences. And I was always so eager to study abroad up until I saw a program that was offered by the Internationalization Office at the University of Johannesburg to go and study in China for a month, a summer program to learn about the BRICS bloc. And then ever since there, I've always been so enthusiastic to go and study abroad. And I've been to a couple of Asian countries, including Malaysia, Singapore, China, Thailand. And then from there, I went and did a BSc honors in geography from the University of the Witwatersrand. And then now currently I'm doing the master's with the Yenching Academy as the only South African for the 2019 cohort and the first graduate from WITS and UJ respectively since these institutions were established. With that being said, we'll be taking your questions. You're more than welcome to pose any question to any of the speakers.
Okay, so we have Abiba Saidu, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Abiba Saidu. You can unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Yahaya will come to you soon, please. Just hold on.
Habiba, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah. Okay, so I think I've seen a question he posted in the group. What is the eligibility for masters in China? Billy, do you want to handle that?
Okay, I will answer part of it, and then I think I'll leave the other part for Yenching scholars, because that is also a master's program. So like I said in my presentation, for master's degree students, it's all based on age requirements. There is an age limitation, but it's usually waived. You don't have to be above 35 years of age, so anything below 35 years, and you need to have an undergraduate degree beforehand from a well-known university. And if your program is going to be in English, because in China you have two options for masters, the English taught programs and the Chinese taught programs. For the Chinese taught programs, you do not need to take any IELTS or TOEFL or any language requirement exams. But for the English taught programs, if the language that you're being taught in for your undergrad was not English, then you will have to take an English exam to prove your English language capabilities and abilities. But if you were taught in English and your degree is in English, for example, let's say most African countries, most Sub-Saharan African countries, South Africa, Zambia, Malawi, wherever it is, the English requirement is waived. So what you need is, you have the age requirement, 1. 2, you need to have an undergrad degree beforehand, and you can still apply for a master's degree whilst you're still doing your undergrad, as long as you're in your final year and you have your whole transcript and a letter from your school guaranteeing that you will graduate the year that you'll be starting your undergrad. So, for example, the Chinese school year always starts in September, usually September or late August. So you might graduate in June, July, and start your master's program in September. That is okay. And well, you might also, you have to apply, just like I said, the deadline is from, the application period is from December to April. So you'll be getting your answers back in May, June, July for the program that starts in September. So basic requirements are, you need to have an undergrad degree, and then just like I said, for the undergrad program, you need to have a motivational letter, recommendation letters, reasons why you want to study that program, your resume or your CV, and recommendation letters, usually 2 or 3, depending on the program you're applying for, from your professors from your previous school. So that's for the Chinese government scholarships. And for the Yenching scholarships, I think Hassan or Tabiso will help me with that one.
Okay, so Hassan, you want to take it up from there? Suwaje. I can see you.
Hello.
Good. Yeah,
So
I can
hi
hear
everyone.
you. Yeah, okay.
Hi everyone. I'm happy to speak to you once again. I'm Hassan Sewaje. I'm a at the Yenching Academy of Peking University. So straight to the requirements of Yenching, I guess the key requirement that you'd want to look out for is a minimum of a bachelor's degree in any field, or if you're still enrolled in your bachelor's and you've not yet gotten the graduation, you could still be eligible provided you will graduate by 31st of August next year, 31st of August 2021. Yenching does not require GREs. I've seen a question pop up, so that one is also handled. And you must have a strong interest in the interdisciplinary study of China. You should always demonstrate that you're interested in learning more about China and trying to connect the dots. How is China going to affect or positively impact on your career aspirations or community efforts? I think there is also need for a good academic record. So a lot of our applicants actually have that record already. So you just need to have relatively good grades, though it's not a key factor in the decision-making of your admission process. Then you need to demonstrate English proficiency, although you need to demonstrate that, but you may not submit the tests provided you can prove that your undergraduate program has been English taught, and you can have a good command of English language. The other issue could be age, like someone has said, age. Tabiso mentioned that, so I may not repeat it. So but just let you know, I think 25 is the cutoff, but it could be up to 27 or 28. And you should also have a good record in extracurricular activities. They need you to demonstrate that you're interested in community engagement, social responsibility, and you must have or demonstrate leadership potential. I think those are key criteria in Yenching's admission.
Okay, thank you very much, Hassan. Just to chip in one important factor, I'm also a Yenching scholar, and they want applicants who are interested in China. So you need to express you have like renowned interest in China, because usually once candidates are selected, they kind of ask voluntarily though, they kind of ask candidates to send in their China story. So what inspired them to choose China? So you need to start thinking about that even before you start applying to Yenching. Like, why do you want to study in China? Is it because of the language, culture, people, business, and also it's for every one of us to determine or decide that. So we'll move to the next question, which is from Alex.
Dixon, wait. Yeah,
Okay.
before you go through that, I also think, the other requirement for Yenching is that if you've already got another master's degree, you can still apply. So they will still take some scholarships. Sometimes they'll say, if you already have a master's, we can accept you. That master's, even if it's still ongoing, it won't affect your studies with Yenching. Then they will.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Tabiso. So we'll move to the next question by Alex Owusu, and I'll be passing the mic to Pelumi. The question is this: please, with regards to eligibility for masters in Germany, okay, even Jacko can come in. Do language proficiency and academic excellence CGPA count? So I think probably the person wants to know if it's if 2-1, that's second class upper degree, it's like the cap, or if you can apply with 2 lower. Pelumi, Jacko.
Okay, wait, Dixon. For Yaku, he has left the meeting, so he has to attend to other meetings. But I will post his email address here. Then those of you who've got more queries for studying in Germany, you can email him, then he'll help you. But I think Pelumi as well might be able to chip in there because she is also a recipient of the Dutch scholarships. So she'll be able also to give you guys some advice there. But I think, before we answer that, the question you just read, Dixon, can we take, what's his name? Eliasu, he's been raising his hand for more than 5 minutes now. And then from there, we'll follow the questions. I will post Yaku's email in the meantime. Thank you.
Should I answer or wait for the other question?
Wait, let's wait for Eliasu to go through because he's been raising his hand. Okay. Then from there, you can answer.
Hello. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, please, I want to ask whether I can get the host personal details so that maybe in case I have challenges in application, I can contact you for emergency or immediate response. Hello? Hello? Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just try to move the mic a little bit away from your phone because it's got a lot of echo in.
Yeah, I said that. Please, can I get your personal details in case I'm having any challenges? I can get you immediately as possible. And my second question would be like, applying for the German scholarship, did they really require GRE exams, or that one to the German scholarship, the GRE exams is not much required?
Okay, thank you very much. I will share my LinkedIn address here and my Facebook page so that everybody can connect with me. And also the other contestant, I think it will be a good idea as well if we can just share our LinkedIn profiles. That way it will be much easier to connect with us. Okay.
Pelumi, I guess you have to go now.
Okay, so this is in regards to the question about the DAD, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if I remember the question well, language proficiency, right? I don't know exactly what CGPA stands for. Can someone clarify that for me?
It's more like the cumulative grade points. You know, when you have, it depends on your degree, you know.
Like a GPA, but a cumulative one. Okay, I didn't know the C part of it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so regarding the language proficiency, definitely for DAD actually for Germany one, you need some, it depends on the program you want to do. Normally for the masters with English, it should be sufficient. That's what you're going to be studying in. But sometimes they also actually require you to have some prior knowledge of German. So I wouldn't, honestly, I'm not sure if the CGPA would be sufficient. I think maybe Jack will be a better person to respond on that. But I do know that it's not necessary to have, but sometimes they require you to have at least a B1. I don't know if you know the European framework for languages. The B1 is like your, like an lower intermediate level of German. So they can ask you to prove that while you're applying. I don't know if that helps a lot. Yeah.
No. I asked the question, can I come?
Okay. Alex.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, please. I'm Alex Owusu from Ghana, from the University of Cape Coast. I asked the question in regards to the eligibility in terms of the language. I want to apply for scholarship to offer masters in education studies, principles and practice of curriculum. So I wanted to know whether there would be a need for language proficiency and taking into consideration the grade point average, maybe a first class, second class, maybe 3.5, 3.6, whatever. Do they take into consideration those things?
I think that was what I was referring to in my previous comment. So now I get the part of the GPA. So I don't know what country you're thinking of applying to. It would depend. But normally, of course, the better grades you have, it's kind of like, common common sense situation, right? The better grades you have, the better chance you have. But to be fair, what I actually believe in most of the applications is that your letter is like your key, your motivation. I don't know what other people think, but your motivation letter is the key to success, right? You might have a lower grade than other people, not that you're failing, but maybe like an average grade, but your motivation letter explains your story. It explains, how you came to be, the person you are and what you want to do. And through that story, you might get a better chances of actually getting the scholarship than someone who has just a pure highest GPA point. But of course, having a good GPA is important because it will add up to your points. Yeah, but it depends on what country you want to apply to. I don't know what country you have in mind.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Dixon, can we just try to take these questions from the chat before we lose them? I think the other one was saying, please explain the application process when you find a scholarship that requires you to have already received a letter of acceptance from a university of choice. What is the general process for applying at international universities, specifically looking at academic record compared to international standard and scores? I think this one, even though we didn't touch into it, this one will fit for the Chevening scholarship. So for the Chevening scholarship, they want you to have already have like at least 3 unconditional offers from your choice of university in the UK. But then for them, you can still apply and send your application. They will give you a period that by this time, we expect you to have received those offers. But then you still send the Chevening application before their closing date, what do you call it? Closes, and then you make sure that during that time when you've got like unconditional offers, you file TOEFL, and then that you'll also have to send to Chevening. But for this year, due to COVID, they've cancelled it. So for some of you who are planning to apply for Chevening for next year, that is 2021. You'll be studying in 2021. The IELTS test that you were supposed to submit to Chevening, they've cancelled them. But then for the specific universities, they will still want them. So I think.
If I can, Tabiso, you're breaking a bit. I don't know if that's.
Unless if other colleagues might want to tackle that. Okay.
Can you hear me? Tabiso, can everyone hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just gonna add to what you were saying. You were mentioning about Chevening, but for Fulbright, it's the same. You need to already have an admission from maybe 2 to 3 universities of your choice. And exactly what Tabiso said, I think what is key about the admission from the university first is to look at the deadline for the university you're applying to. So besides Chevening or Fulbright, which is the one that's going to be chipping in the funding, you need to know what is the deadline for the school you're applying to, and different schools vary. So in my case, when I was planning to study for 2020, so this fall, I had to already apply deadline January 2020, even though I will start my program in August 2020. So that means by January, I had to have my application sent to the school, and then they would give me like an acceptance maybe by, let's say I got it in March. And that way, when I was applying to Fulbright, which deadline was for April, I already had my acceptance letter by then. I already sent in my application, even though I didn't know if I got in or not, but at least the application was already sent, and I was just waiting to get acceptance from the school. But at the end of the day, if you ever actually get the scholarship, you have to then finally send in either to Fulbright or Chevening the final certificate saying that yes, you've been finally accepted into XYZ university. And if you have 3 options, then it's up to you to choose which one you prefer to go to. So that's how it normally works. So it's very important to look at the deadline of the school itself, even besides the deadline of Chevening or of Fulbright.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll move to Kofi. I think he or she has been raising their hand since. Kofi, if you can hear me, please unmute yourself. Hello, Kofi.
It was a mistake.
Sorry? If anyone has a question in the house, you can please unmute yourself and then ask.
Yeah, hello, I have a question.
Okay, please go ahead, Ibrahim.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I read about the CSC some time ago, and it's as if they require a recommendation from a professor from the school that you are trying to apply to. So then I asked, how do you get such a recommendation from a professor from the school? That is China, the CSC.
Billy, can you please handle that?
Okay. Good morning, Rafat, or good afternoon or evening. I'm sure if you look at the website, I just forwarded to the group, which is the official website for the Chinese government scholarships, which is the government website. It does not have such a requirement. And I did not have to get a recommendation letter from the university I'm currently at. All I had to do was get 2 recommendation letters for my undergraduate program, one from my school headmaster, and another one from one of my good teachers in the course that I was trying to pursue, which was my math teacher. And those are the only 2 people that I got recommendation letters from. And I think the thing that you're talking about is if you're trying to apply for a master's program and you've already been to China, like for example, if I'm already in China and I want to keep on studying in China for my master's degree, then I'll definitely need to get a recommendation letter from one of my teachers at my current university. But if you haven't been to China or you've never been to China and it's your first time applying for a CSC scholarship or CGS scholarship, you do not need to have a recommendation letter from anyone in China. You need to have a recommendation letter from the current institute you're at, one of the professors or teachers at your institute or high school or whatever program you're in right now. So I hope that's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ibrahim, I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Dixon.
Okay, yeah.
I just saw a question here. It says, please, what about employment after school in China, US or UK? So this one, it will depend on where you come from. That's Kevin. So you can be able to work in the UK or China if maybe, let's say, this is gonna be much more easier if your country falls under the Commonwealth Secretariat, because all the posts that they put out, if you're part of the Commonwealth, you qualify for. For instance, they normally put posts every now and then about the Young Professionals Program. So you look at that. And also in the US, they also put posts when you want to work for the World Bank Young Professional Program. And also in China as well, you can work there. Quite recently, the company that has been like really looking for international students was Huawei, but they were kind of quite specific. Mostly they were targeting South Africans, but again, give it a try, you never know. So I don't know, perhaps Pilumi, if you might also be able to give advice as working in the UK. I mean, in the UK and China, and also Asafika as well, she's in the UK, maybe she might be able to give some pointers there.
Okay, let me just comment quickly on the China part. Working in China immediately after your scholarship, it's quite difficult because your visa time ends immediately, your program ends. So you're not given like an extension, or you're not allowed to stay back like in, let's say in places like Europe or in Australia. So usually you're just allowed to leave. So the only time you can stay back in China after your scholarship is probably when you get a job. So it's something you have to start preparing, like application process and all, before your program elapses. If not, if you decide to wait till towards the end of your program before you start applying, you might miss that, and that would mean you have to leave the country. So that's for the China part. So Benjamin can come in to talk about the US or Europe. Over to you, Benjamin. Can she hear me? You're muted.
Pelumi?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, can you please, I couldn't hear you very well. Can you please repeat the question?
So it's about working employment after school in China, US, or the UK.
Okay, so with employment, it depends on the program. About China, I won't say because I'm not an expert in that. So I will focus on the US and the UK or in Europe. So with the Erasmus Mundus, normally you would of course be coming with a student visa, and the same for Fulbright or for studies in the US, you go with a student visa, which of course when you want to work has to change, right? You have to change your status into like a working permit, not a student visa anymore. As I said, with the Fulbright one, you won't be allowed because you have to go back to your country. So you cannot transition into like a working opportunity. You can only extend your student visa, but not change it to a working one. You have to go back to your country for 2 years and then come back. But if it's with the European one, as far as I know, you can definitely transition into a working permit. So that's not an issue. But of course, you would have to get a job that would sponsor that for you. So you would have to find a work first before actually getting your visa or your permit transition into like a working permit. And to find jobs, I don't think, I mean, to be honest, in the EU, it's not that it's hard, but you have to have in mind that anyone with yeah, maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but anyone with the EU ID or European passport would have it easier, right? Because some jobs require you to have, you know, the EU nationality, and if you don't have that, it might be a bit tricky. So it depends. If you have your work permit, it shouldn't be an issue. But normally, if it's you coming from an international background against someone that is from the EU, I think the person from the EU would have it easier. I know that it might not be what you want to hear, but that's also the reality, to be honest. So yeah, that's it about the working part. But as long as you get a job and the person or the company is ready to sponsor your permit, that should not be an issue. Yeah. But also, I'm not an expert on the working part. I'm more an expert on the scholarship itself, right? But that's what I know.
All right. Thank you very much for that answer. I think this one is directed to you, Asafika. Where's the question? Please, I had something about double masters concurrently. I hope, is it possible? If yes, how? And then this one, I think Billy as well can tackle it. Please, I'm an undergraduate student, but I would like to study abroad starting all over as a fresher. Would it be possible? If yes, what will be the requirements? Yeah, those are the questions.
Hi. So on the double masters, I know that the London School of Economics offers 2 double masters programs. The one is the one I'm on, which is a double degree masters in public administration and government, a joint degree program between Peking University in Beijing and the London School of Economics in London. It also offers another double degree of a similar kind, but in international relations, also partnered with Peking University. So that's what I know. I would recommend that you, if you're interested in a double master's, you can go onto the LSE's website and see what they offer. But there are also other universities that offer double degrees where you spend 1 year in one university and another year in another university. I don't know whether it's set up the same way in the sense that you receive 2 master's degrees from the 2 universities. It may just be that you spend 1 compulsory year abroad at another university, but only obtain a degree from 1 university. So you would have to go to the university's website that you're interested in and find out more about what's available. That's all I know.
Okay, thank you very much, Safika. So yes, again, as well, to add to your question, I think Pelumi tried to delve with it when she was speaking about the Erasmus Mundus, that also, again, you study into 4 different universities. Maybe if Pelumi could just clarify, as are you going to get 1 degree or is it going to be 2 degrees when you graduate? And also, again, I know with LSE, the London School of Economics, they've also got another double masters. I just don't know in terms of their funding, but it's something along in social policy with Fudan University, again in China, but in Shanghai. So perhaps, Pulumi, if you could just clarify about the Erasmus, if you will graduate with a double master degree or one degree.
Yeah,
And
that's a good question, actually. Honestly, no, I have to actually relook at it. I was, when I did the video, I found this information, but it's actually one degree, but the only thing is that you're doing it in different universities. So you'll come out with one degree. The only thing is that they will mention, I think, in the certificate that you have, of course, done it in these different cities and in these different countries. But of course, it would be impossible to give you like 4 degrees because you just did a semester, in a different university. So it is one degree, maybe let's say in education policy, but they will maybe certify that you have done it in different cities in Europe. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Billy, can you just explain this a little, even though it's for China? I mean, I think the, what's his name, Galaxy J2, but I mean, for you, it's China specific. So they want to study abroad, like from undergraduate as a fresher. So they would want to know like, what will be the requirements? I know you explained it, but can you just like try to re-explain it again for China specific?
Okay. Since you want to start from the beginning again, all you need is, it's the same requirements for undergrad for the Chinese government scholarship as anyone else who just graduated from high school. There's nothing like you graduated in 2016, 2015. As long as you're still below the required age limit, which is 25 years for undergrad, then you can still apply using everything that I just listed below, your transcripts, the 2 recommendation letters from your high school, and probably from the current institute that you're at right now. And if you've got any, for example, participation in social events, in organizations, associations, that would also help you stand out in your application process. So it is very possible. All you need is all the requirements that I just listed below, the recommendation letters, personal statement, why you want to study in China, and basically the same requirements as anyone else who will be applying straight from high school. So I hope that answers your question. That is just for the Chinese government scholarship. I don't know about other scholarships.
Okay, thank you, Billy. If I may, I have a question to the speakers, and mine is, to apply for Erasmus or the Fulbright scholarship, especially at the PhD level, do I need to design like a research proposal? Because I know for the CSC, it's not really compulsory. That the Chinese government scholarship is not really compulsory, but you just need to attach like a research plan. But it's not like you have to contact a supervisor, as in the case in Europe or in Australia. So I just want to know what it's like applying for the PhD level for, let's say, Fulbright or the Erasmus, if I would need like a research proposal at the PhD level.
Yeah, good question. You definitely need to. So I'm not sure of the length because I said like each commission, so the Fulbright Commission in each country designs their application in different ways. So the one I did for Spain might be different to the one in Nigeria or whatever country you're coming from. But you do need like a proposal because they do want to like see, okay, what does this person wants to study in our country? But I think that if you're going to be applying already to the school and the school will require you to give them a proposal, that application can serve as the basis for your Fulbright application because you're already, sending it to the school. And if the school already approves your application, that means that they think it's good enough. And then if you apply it for Fulbright for the funding, it shouldn't be a big issue. And for the Erasmus Mundus one, I have to actually research, but if I'm not mistaken, the joint program is actually a joint master's program. So it's for the master's program. For the PhD level, I think it existed before, but currently I think they're not doing it anymore. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So, we would have to kind of like search online to find a better answer. But right now, the Erasmus Mundus is for the joint master's program. And the PhD one, I'm not that certain. But for Fulbright, as I said, definitely you need a proposal, but you can just kind of like recycle the one you use for your university and just kind of like tailor it to Fulbright's questions. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Tabito.
Yes, Dixon. There's another question here. What's the best way to get in touch with other international students, even social media, etc., to work together? I think Pulumi, she shared her YouTube channel. So there, I'm sure she's got a lot of likes, so you can be able to connect with other international students. I will also be sharing the Peking University African Students Association Facebook page. So that's where like a lot of us Africans in China, we are on that Facebook page. But then on other programs, unfortunately, it's like they only design that program. For example, if you are a Fulbright scholar, you only join that alumni as a Fulbright scholar. If you are us as Yanqing, you only join that as Yanqing scholars. The same goes for Asafi as well. So that will differ from, but those are the only ones that I think maybe where you can be able to connect with a lot of different people from different programs.
Yeah, I can add something to that. Exactly what Abisu said, very correct. But what you can do and you can take advantage of is, and I always tell everyone to do that, is not like stalking people, but try to connect with former scholars. Like, you will be surprised how willing people are actually, if they have time, of course, give people time in advance to help you. Like, when people tell you, help me with a scholarship, it's not something you do in a day. So, you know, give people time and respect their time. But you can definitely reach out to people. Like, there are a few tricks you can do. Go to LinkedIn, write the name of the scholarship you're looking for, and you'll be surprised how many names of the previous scholars you're going to find. And just shoot in like a personal email and be like, look, maybe you have something in common, maybe they studied the same thing as you. And you can make a short email to them, or message them on LinkedIn asking them for advice or whatever it is. And then on Facebook, as Tabiso said, there are many groups. The one for Fulbright, he's right that they are like the official ones that are closed. You can only get in once you're a member, but there are actually other ones that you don't have to be accepted yet. They're like the informal groups. So Shivlin is doing a great job. They have this Facebook group that about like 200 people or more, where, you know, people just share their ideas, their stress, their struggle in that group, and they write, you know, tips or whatever it is that they might need, and you can come there. So Facebook also, you know, write the name of the scholarship you're looking for, look at the groups, and then you'll be surprised to see many groups you're looking for. So yeah, make use of that.
Thank you very much for that comment, Pelumi. Also, again, question to you is, can we apply for master scholarships without writing the SAT or GRE or any other test in the US?
That's a good question. Actually, I avoided that, so I can tell you my experience. Yeah. I think SAT is for undergrad and GRE is more like for masters, if I'm not mistaken. And then the GMAT for people who want to do business administration. So it depends on the university. So I'm studying international development. I saw different universities offering my program. I looked at Yale, I looked at even Harvard or all these big names. And then I looked at my school, Georgetown, and I looked at the requirements, and some had GRE, some did not. I wanted to do it, but honestly, my quantitative stuff wasn't really good. So I was like, I don't want to go through this stress, and I didn't want to do a GRE. So the only thing I did was the language one, the IELTS. Yeah, I did the IELTS, which is the language certificates you need, which I think every school requires, even if they don't require GRE. So my school, with having an IELTS, they were okay with that, and they didn't require me to have a GRE. And so it depends on the program itself, actually. The Fulbright itself does not require you to have a GRE if you want to apply for a scholarship. And but I do know that if the school requires it, you have to do it. So it depends on the school you're applying to. So what you can do is look for the program you're interested in, divergence they require, and then always write emails and all these organizations like, this is my situation, I don't want to do this for XYZ reason, is there a way to find a solution? And you'll be surprised how willing they are to kind of like accommodate your needs. So just, you know, try it out. And yeah, but I do think that for people who want to do business administration, a GMAT is compulsory. There is typically no way you can avoid that. I hope that answer helps.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that. And also, I was just gonna also add something that all of us in here, we are students in our respective universities. What I've realized from the South African perspective is that most South Africans tend to neglect the internationalization offices in their respective universities because they view that office as only accommodative to international students. You should make it a point that every now and then you go and check them because they've got programs, especially summer school programs, where they're designed for South African students, or even in your respective country where they want to send students to go and study abroad. But then when we view that office, we only see it as an office that is only accommodating international students. It shouldn't be that way. And that as well, it should be able to give you Because I mean, you find people who've got like a lot of anxiety that staying abroad for a year, I'll be homesick. So give it as a test. Go and apply for a summer school program and see how is it going to work for you just spending a month in Europe or in China. And then we know when you come back with that experience, then that should be able to give you a drive on whether should I want to apply for a full time scholarship to go study abroad. And again, it shouldn't be the university only. I think the biggest that does a lot of this small programs is the American Embassy. Again, go and check the American Embassy on your specific country. In South Africa, we've got a lot of them. One is called SUSI, Study of the United States Institute, where they select South Africans to go and spend the entire winter in America. The other one that Asafika spoke about was the SAWIP, the Southern African Washington Program. So just look at those specific embassies based on your country and see what works for you and then take it from there. Instead of just, applying for a long program and then when you're at that site, you start to feel homesick. Give it a test. Okay, I just saw another question here. It says, could you kindly provide us with links for programs from, I think this one's, it's gonna take long to give you guys links, but the most famous one in the UK is the Rhodes Scholarship, the Chevening Scholarship, the Melinda Bill Gates Scholarship at Cambridge University. What else? Those are the ones that I can think of. Oh, okay, at the University of Sussex, we've got the Mandela Scholarship that only, I think it looked at Zambia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, only 3 countries. And then the US, mostly it's the MasterCard, and then it's the Fulbright, the most famous ones, of course. And then the others, yeah, you just have to check. Canada, I've got no idea. But again, you just need to check what works for you. And the other thing, I think you need to follow, let me look at the website, I'll give them to you now. So if there's someone who wants to ask questions in the meantime, they can ask. But I've got 3 websites that I normally follow. I'll share them here. So they give you scholarships anywhere in the world, including internships, fellowships, and summer school programs.
Excuse me, Tabiso.
Exactly, just to add to that point.
Okay, hi, Asafika, you can go ahead.
I'd also like to add that there's the Mo Ibrahim Scholarship for Study at SOAS, University of London.
Oh, yes, that one, yes. It's also got fellowships, but normally fellowships is looking for people who are already working, like 2-3 years experience. Some of them you spend them in the UK, some of them you spend them in Africa. Mostly, I think it's in Ethiopia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what I was gonna add, thank you for sharing that, both of you. What, besides knowing the specific name of the scholarships, which is great, what you need is also databases, which is like the key to finding a lot of scholarships. Because many times, not many times, I feel like honestly, there are more than thousands of scholarships out there, which, differ from government ones to foundation ones to private sector ones, and then to school ones. So can you hear me? Yeah, I think so. Okay, cool. So what you also have to focus on, it's learning about this databases. So for example, Tabiso just sent this one called Opportunities for Africans, which is fantastic because it's a database. So besides knowing the specific name of the scholarship, it's better to have a database where you can always go to and you will find all the list of scholarships irrelevant to where it is in the world. And sometimes they even categorize it for you by countries, by the master's program, by the degree, by the country, it's very good because it gives you a clear idea of where these scholarships are coming from and what they are. And what I actually did, because I realized people were like, where do I find scholarships? Like they don't understand where and how it is. And what I did was I made 2 videos actually on my YouTube where I explained where they come from. So understanding the differences in scholarship, right? If it's government funded, if it's private funded, if it's foundation funded, these are very specific and this applies to any country. And then also another one based on a list that I made of 9 websites. I think Tabi's already shared one here, 9 websites that serve as a database for you to find more than thousands of scholarships in them. So I can send the link here if you guys are interested. Just wanted to make that differentiation, not just the scholarship name of the program, but rather a database where you can find any type of scholarship.
Hello? Hello?
My hand has been up for long now. Nobody asked me to talk.
Oh no, so sorry about that. We didn't see it. Yeah, sure, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening to everyone there. I'm Mauli. I'm speaking from Ghana, Accra, to be precise. I'm so happy for this opportunity. Happy for the organizers of the program. And thank you. Thank Sylvester for sharing it, putting it in our WhatsApp group. Other than that, I wouldn't have been aware of this. And so I have two questions. And then I was in China, and thank God I came back before Corona and any other thing. And then later we heard of some discrimination. Of course, there's discrimination everywhere, but right after that, we heard of Africans going through some tough times over there in China, and also somewhere in other parts of the world, Black lives still matter. So I have lost interest in traveling to anywhere to study. And so I just want to know, especially those in China, how is it now? Because you guys are there. How is the atmosphere like to Black people like myself and yourself? That is my first question. Can you guys assure us that there's no problem, we can come? That's my first question. My second question is to those in Germany. Do I have to study German before I can go there? Am I supposed to go to Goethe here in my country and learn some German? Is it prerequisite before I go to Germany? Those are my two questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your questions. I must say, yeah, that was kind of very scary when I was already in South Africa, but prior to that, a lot of those things that you saw on the media, I was in, what's the province called? Guangdong. I went there to do my research, actually, to go and learn about African migrants, because that's where a lot of us Africans people were based, because of the, what is it called? The Delta River, if I'm not mistaken, and also because of trade, because that's where we buy a lot of things and then send them to Africa. A very beautiful environment. But then when COVID happened, so that was very scary. So I don't even know how to answer this, because again, I was hoping that Chinese government was going to assure us, but then there was a lot of things that happened. There was no media PR that went and addressed the public. So I wouldn't say don't make it a full conclusion that you'd want to stay in your home country because you don't want to travel the world. As you've said, we experience these things, but then I think if you're going to be in Beijing or Shanghai, or maybe Chengdu, I don't even know how to put this. It's going to be much better. Again, I don't want to discriminate, but yeah, don't make it a general conclusion that, just because something happened where a lot of a certain ethnic group was violated, now you don't want to travel the world. It happens. I mean, it's part of life. Errors happen, but don't make it that way that, you don't want to travel. But yeah, that was kind of distressing when we saw on the media what was happening to those people. And also for me, I was kind of disappointed, given that, the Chinese, when they tell their policies is that we come in peace, but then when we saw there was a different strategy as well, but don't make it a conclusion that you don't want to travel the world because of that. Pelimu, do you want to take the other answer about Black Lives Matter in Europe and America, because I saw that happened a lot as compared to here in Africa, and maybe Asafi as well.
You're muted, Tabiso. I didn't hear the last thing you said.
No, I was just saying maybe Asafi as well, she might chip in there as well, because while there are a lot of these things was happening, she was also in the UK. Maybe she had a different experience.
Yeah. So currently I'm not yet in the US. So I started my master's online. So I'll be traveling very soon, hopefully. But of course, from everything we've seen on social media, that is where everything is going on. And of course, with COVID, everything has started to even exacerbate a bit more. So regarding if because of this, you don't want to have your international experience, I have to think that was an erroneous conclusion. I think that it's very personal. It depends on how you feel and how comfortable you feel in difficult situations. situations, right? So for me, I was like, okay, do I really want to study in the US in a time like this? And my conclusion is, I mean, I don't know if I have to put, I want to sound very diplomatic in this case, but there is danger everywhere. And of course, you know, in the US now, or maybe in China because of COVID, it's a bit more obvious. But I think that your experience, you know, doesn't have to be always negative. I can put it in a positive aspect, right? I mean, things can happen that will make you feel like, oh my God, my life is not respected here. And that's, you know, that's a real danger. But I do think that, you know, the experience of being exposed to these opportunities and is worthwhile, but it depends on how. It's hard to say. I think it depends on everyone. Some people are just not comfortable to go into a situation like this, and that's understandable. And some people are more like, okay, it's happening, but I will join in the, you know, in the fight against this. And that's kind of like how I see it. You know, I'm studying development, not only like for developing countries, but also for developed countries that also have, you know, issues regarding race. And for me to be there, I take it as an opportunity to also like, you know, contribute first in this, you know, ongoing issues, and, you know, find people like me that are ready to also, you know, fight against it. So yeah, I'm a bit scared sometimes, but I don't like that, you know, dictate how I want to live my life. I cannot live my life in fear. So that's my personal experience, my personal opinion, but I know that everyone, you know, takes it a different way. So I cannot speak for anyone. I only speak for myself. Yeah. And I think this topic could be another topic for another day because it's very intense, you know. So
Yeah,
just try to keep it short.
I concur. We are 15 minutes over time. I don't know, is there another question? Maybe we should have the last question and then wrap up.
I'm sorry, but I asked 2 questions. The second question is about Germany. Do I need to study some German before I go there? Is it a prerequisite? Thank you.
We sort of already went through this about the language. Jaiko is the DAD guy, but just for me to check into that. Normally your master's program would be in English, right? It's an international program. However, before you go there, depending on the program, they might require you to have some knowledge, right? Maybe an A1 level, A2 level, which is basic, or maybe an intermediate level. And then once you're there, I do believe that they require you, depending on the funding you're getting, to continue your German language studies, right? So that at the end of your program, you can prove that you've moved from maybe a lower level to an advanced level. So you don't, it depends on the program actually that you're studying for. But the studies itself, differently to the one in, I think, CSJ that Billy was talking about, you don't need to study in Chinese or in German. You can just do it in English, but you have to have knowledge of German once you're there, I believe. But of course, you can always consult with Jacko, who's the expert in DAD.
All right, thank you, Pelumi. We are actually even 15 minutes over our time. So I would like to thank everyone who came and participated on a Saturday. I know we've got other commitments that we have to make. A special shout out to you, Pelumi, to Yaku, who left Asafika, to Billy. The idea here was to come and give you guys as many different scholarships as we can, instead of just focusing on one country or one scholarship. And then also a special shout out to the Peking University African Student Association and my colleagues in China. And yeah, so if you would like to leave, you are more than welcome to leave, including our panelists. So I think maybe I might stay up until 12:30, that's South African time. And then from there, we will stop the meeting and then just try to take your questions. But if you want to leave, you are more than welcome to leave.
Oh no.
What do you call it? The recording is also live on our Facebook page, the Peking University African Student Association. So if you'd want to watch it again for future reference, and I think also as well, Pelumi, she will put it on her YouTube video link as well, YouTube page as well, and we'll also be sharing it on our LinkedIn profiles. But other than that, thank you very much for joining us in this webinar. I don't know if Siwaji, you would like to say something as our president.
I'm just thankful and grateful for all of our presenters, to you too, Thebiso, for putting this together. I also thank Dixon for the great job of doing the moderation and the Zoom meeting management. So I think it has been a great and worthwhile time. I hope we can see a lot of African students speaking interest in furthering their education abroad and trying to encourage their peers. I know at first it's always difficult, but when you begin applying, you find that there is nothing special with this application. I'm not like a very special person, or none of us that gets the scholarships are that kind of special, but you can also take the initiative. And when you do that, you realize that you can also get there and approve or get an improvement in your academic journey. So I really call upon you to not just take this on surface value, go ahead and do the applications, submit them, and try your luck. I know you could be here or be in Europe or the US pursuing a program of your choice. So thank you everyone that has chosen to listen to this event, and all our presenters who have shared that rich content. Thebiso once again for coordinating and driving this, and as well Dixon. So I thank everybody and thank you once again. We hope we could get more information on our Facebook and LinkedIn pages in case you have any other clarifications. I appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siwaji. So as I've said, you're more than welcome to leave. I think maybe we can, Siwaji, Dixon, and Billy. Okay, Billy's got a hand. I'll hand over the mic to you now. We can just stay up until 12:30. That's South African time. That's going to be 6:30 Beijing time. And then from there, we'll officially close the meeting. So you guys still got about 10 minutes to ask further questions. But Billy, I saw your hand was up. Go ahead.
No, bro. It wasn't a hand.
He was clapping.
It was a... Exactly.
All right, cool. So yeah, maybe we can take the last questions if the other colleagues who still want to ask questions.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I would like to thank everyone for this opportunity. It was a nice experience. We learned a lot and we get more. What will you be hosting such meetings subsequent times, or this will be the end? So if you'll be hosting, we'll know and try our possible best to join. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those kind words. Oh yeah, so I mean, as I've said at the beginning, is that I've always been asked, how do you travel the world for free? So I thought, you know what, why not share with our African colleagues? So, and again, this was like the first thing that we did, but then again, with a huge turnover and a lot of enthusiasm that you guys showed. So we'll probably do another session. So I'll just have to go and regroup with my team and then see again what kind of a strategy we can come with next time. Or maybe we can just focus now on just studying in China, maybe specifically looking at Billy's scholarship, now going into detail and further unpacking it, or looking at the Yenching Academy as well scholarship. But yeah, I think a second webinar is needed here. Oh yes, what is Benjamin? Yes, the meeting has been recorded. It's also live on our Facebook page. So if you can just go through the chat where I post a lot of the links, one of them leads you directly to the Facebook page. I was locked out, so I lost most of that information, but it's there as well. I put in my LinkedIn page as well. So if you miss it, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, then I will be able to share the link with everyone. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, somebody says they are from Ghana. Thank you to all the organizers. We are very grateful. Again, I want to join the team from Ghana. We actually have a colleague from Ghana. She's doing wonders. Her name is Akusa. She once, quite recently, she gave a speech at the UN in New York about most of, what is it called? Children vulnerabilities in Ghana as well. So Waju, do you have that YouTube link, or Dixon? Maybe if you can share with our colleague in Ghana there as well. I mean, might be easier to connect with Wakuso that side.
I don't have the link right now. I'll have to check. But I don't have the link now.
Yeah, I don't have it either. I think it was on my Facebook page, but now I've lost it. Okay, then. So if we don't have any more questions, I think we can end the meeting, officially end the meeting. If there are no more, okay, wait, there's the questions comes. I have a list of few questions. One, is there a possibility of remaining in Germany or move to any other European country to get a job after study? I think Yaku did mention this, that their scholarships or their visas they are not rigid in a sense that they would say you must go back to your home country. So yes, you can stay in Germany. Can one who's currently running a master's to be completed next year apply right now into a German university for their scholarships? Okay, that one I'm not sure. You'll have to check on the DOT website and also email Yaku on the email that I also sent on the chat. But as far as I know, for my scholarship, the Engineering Academy, you are allowed to get admission into it, given that the current scholarship won't affect your current studies with Yanqing. Can one use both bachelor's degree and ongoing master's degree to apply for that? Okay, that as well, you'll have to check thoroughly on the DAT website and also email Yaku if some of the answers that you're looking for are not there on the website. And then 4, I have a work experience in pharmacy practice for 3 years, that the program I look forward to apply for is in public health. Will it be accepted? Yeah, I believe so. But then again, you need to check, because I mean, Yaku did mention that they fund certain programs to study in Germany. So just look and see if public health is one of those programs. And then what was the other one? Okay, can I use a language proficiency exemption certificate in a place of IELTS, and is it compulsory? So most of the European universities, yes, IELTS is compulsory. I think the validity of that IELTS is 2 years. So after 2 years, then you'd have to retake the exam again. So if your certificate is still within that validity period, then you can submit it as proof. Then I think they will be able to accept you. I think that's how as I can be able to answer your questions to the best of my ability. I don't know, maybe if other colleagues might want to chip in there, Dixon, Billy, Suwaji.
If I may, especially on the question where he says have a work experience in pharmacy practice for 3 years, but the program I look forward to applying for is the public health. I think the most important thing is how you draft your motivation letter. That's the most important thing. Currently, I'm also applying to for a PhD program, and originally my research interest has been in insecurity issues, human development issues. But after studying in China for a bit, my interest changed, and now I'm moving from insecurity, Boko Haram research into investment and how they impact on human development, access to health, access to education, and then national income. So it just depends on how you write out your letter. You have to convince the person that even though this is not your area, like this is why you have the flair. This is why you're the best candidate for something related to public health. That's one. I think Hassan can talk on this better because he did engineering and now he's in Yanqing studying economics and management track. So you'd see the transition from the mathematical oriented engineering aspects into economics and management. So I don't know if Hassan can comment on this.
Yes, maybe on that issue. Sorry, I've been moving up and down, but transition is very possible. I could say yes, because I personally was doing civil engineering in undergraduate. But you know, with the sciences, there is also a limitation that maybe you don't get a feel of the social interactions, or you don't get so much contact with the people. You don't get to do activities that impact people. So it is always good maybe to switch and transition to a more multidisciplinary program. And I think that's the advantage of Yanqing, that even at Yanqing, I still go to do some programs that I feel are still technical in my profession in civil engineering, but at the same time, they're exposing me to other social sciences programs and economics programs, which I feel are relevant to get a balanced and kind of general approach to life. You know? Because I had a feeling that restricted into a certain path, and transitioning, getting a program like Yanqing that gives you a balance of your former professional, your career background, but supplements it with a selection, your option to choose different courses based on a new field. I think it's good. So what you get is, you won't get that difficult in transitioning because there are beginner programs you can select. You're not going to go into the advanced economics courses or the advanced macroeconomics or microeconomics. So you can always do the basic ones, then later upgrade with time until maybe you reach a point that, okay, I'm confident I can take on this. But Yanqing as a program is really open to transitioning. You don't have to be worried that, oh, I did engineering, now I can't go into economics, I can't go into politics and international relations. I think these are fields we also need as maybe engineers or people that are in the sciences sector, because they are helpful as well. So my advice is please don't get that concern or that fear that there is transition is not possible. It is actually smooth. You get more comfortable, especially in economics, because you're building onto your statistics or your mathematical background. And then, like Dixon said, the infrastructure, actually, you find that a lot of these fields need you to have a clue of management and the general look of investments. So if you're looking at management, you're looking at economics, you're looking at infrastructure, you may not effectively run all this based on just maybe a civil engineering background. That's why we've seen that maybe civil engineers, medical practitioners go on and upgrade their bachelor's or master's with a rather kind of management course or economics course, or they do an MBA, so that they get that feel of having a balanced kind of approach to the career. So I think it's good. It's a good decision you could take, and it will also help you have a balanced career. That's what I could say.
Okay. So if I comment on, Tabisha, you want to say something?
No, actually, I wanted to answer this question quickly.
Okay.
And I think you as well, Dixon, you can delve into this.
Okay. So yeah, the next question, something
wait,
about
Dixon.
Yeah.
Dixon,
Hey.
wait, there's somebody talking. Kobe is talking.
Okay.
Kobe, go ahead. Go ahead, Kobe. Did I lose connection now? No. Okay. No, it's fine then, Dixon. Somebody, I think you can also tap. What's going on? I think Dixon, you can also answer this. They're asking, is it now possible for international students to work in China alongside school, just like in the US, Canada, and the like? With our scholarship, the Yanqing Academy, it's 2 years. So during the first year, you are not allowed to work in China because that's where you do your coursework and it's very intensive. However, in the second year, because that's when we only write our thesis, then yes, you are allowed to apply for internships outside. But I think Dixon can give you much more advice because right now he's working for one of the UN agencies in Beijing. Go ahead, Dixon.
Okay. Okay. So just to add up on what Tabiso just said, it's quite correct. 2 years program at Yanqing. And then The first year for coursework, second year for your thesis. So it means you eventually have the second year to do anything you want to do in the world. So if you want to travel, you want to work, you just want to work on your thesis, you want to improve your language proficiency, it just depends on you. So right now I work with UNICEF, and it's an internship program. So it's possible for international students to work in China. But the thing is, you need to know exactly what the requirements are from your institution. Different institutions in China have different criteria, different policies. I think up until recently, either in 2016 or 2017, if I'm not mistaken, international students were not allowed to intern, if I'm not mistaken about my figures. But just recently, the government opened it up for international students to work, and you're not allowed to earn salary. So what you just be allowed to earn will be stipends, just transport allowance. So it also depends on how much the organization would pay you. So that's that. So you need to be very specific. And another thing I would mention here is the policy in Beijing is quite different from the policy in Shanghai, which is also quite different from the policies in cities like Tianjin, Chengdu, Zhejiang, and the case. So every province in China have their different policies about international students working. So at times when I tell my friends in the south, in Guangzhou, that I'm working, and they'll be like, "You're working on these are the kind of experiences you're seeing." Well, it's not the same China we are in. Like, why don't I have this kind of experiences as well? So this is just to let you understand that different provinces have their different policies and they're competing with themselves. So if you find yourself somewhere other than Beijing, you might have an entirely different experience to work. That's specifically to work. So you need to find out from your school and from the province what the requirements are, but you surely can work. And another thing is the works are either paid or unpaid. And they have to be, take note, you won't earn salary as an international student, so it has to be stipend. So if you get a job and you're told you'll be earning a salary, take note, you're putting yourself in big trouble, because when the government finds you, the police will get involved. So that's what I have to say. You're muted, Tabiso.
Sorry, I was kicked out, so I just logged in again. But yeah, I think with China, so you don't want to be on the wrong side of the law enforcement that side. So if they say that you're not allowed to work as per your visa, please adhere to that, or else, I mean, they can go as far as terminating your scholarship right away. So just follow things accordingly. And then I think that will be it, because now we're already 5 minutes past 6:30, 12:30 in South Africa, Beijing. So we can officially end the meeting now. So can everybody just exit the meeting? Then myself, Dixon, and Billy, we can just have final words and then we'll close it. But all of you other colleagues, you can leave the meeting now. Again, thank you very much for joining us.